3D printed Comicron 1 models now available in the Atop the Fourth Wall store, Envy. Buy them now or else I won't stop shouting. Either way, I'm going to keep giving scritches to this cat. Hello and welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. And you know, I said a few episodes ago that maybe I don't need to have that be the tagline anymore because I get so many requests for non-comics and usually good stuff at that. People want to see me talk about good things, revel in the good, have a fun old time with the good. So anyway, here's Youngblood again to remind us why that tagline is sticking around. Last time in the pages of Youngblood Strikefile. Of all the things to follow up on in this book about side stories featuring the next generation of heroes, we had Overt Kill, a big, goofy, cybernetic thing made up by Stan Lee, Todd McFarlane, and Rob Liefeld for a direct-to-video series Stan was producing. Said video series is far more entertaining than anything you will find in Youngblood. In it, the guy who created Overt Kill in-universe rebuilt him in an effort to gain redemption, but then Overt Kill's head popped off and flew away because this is an incredibly goofy series that takes itself far more seriously than it should. Why this needed to be the only story in the issue when the previous 3 Strikefile issues were side stories giving backstories to the heroes that Rob decided to not put into the main Youngblood book itself is unknown to me. But with today's issue, we went back to the format we had for the first 3. 2 shorter stories about these characters. So let's dig into Youngblood Strikefile number 5 and see if we actually have anything to start making us care about these assholes.
Welcome to Atop the Fourth Wall, where bad comics burn. Linkara's gonna teach you all a lesson you won't learn. What's with these awkward subjects? What's all this art so rubbish? To anyone who's had a bad comic published, it could be your turn. Linkara, he is a man punch, sporadically a grouch. Linkara, he has his own spaceship, but he's always on his couch. Linkara, ghosts, gods, a universe in flux. Linkara, this comic sucks. Linkara.
The cover is terrible. Putting aside that it's just a boring image of Badrock standing so tall that he's blocking the logo for no other reason than Liefeld decided he needed to fill the space, there is nothing here to tell us what the comic is about, why we should buy it, nothing to show potential new readers. This is something worth checking out. I really need to emphasize that this is why people asking, but why not look at the cover of a trade paperback is so annoying. It is very rare that a trade will have a cover this bad on it. Single issues, if you're not already following a book, are supposed to sell you on this comic, get you to spend your limited funds on it. A trade is different than a single issue, and the source of the scans I'm using for the review matters. I can't say for certain, but I'm 90% sure that if Youngblood Strikefile was sold in a trade, this wouldn't be the cover they'd use to try to sell it. What was going through anyone's heads when this was the decision made? Oh, it doesn't matter. They love Youngblood. They'll buy anything with the name on it, so who cares? Did they think this genuinely looked good? This dull-ass medium shot of Badrock so puffed up that it makes Liefeld's infamous Captain America drawing look restrained by comparison? I doubt that they even thought up the possibility of new readers. But yes, a cover should be about trying to entice new readers. That's why Silver Age covers are so goofy. They pulled out whatever ridiculous image they could to get people to say, okay, Superman's marrying a gorilla and also his head is a potato. I've gotta know what the story is here. What possible reason does anyone have to look at this Badrock cover and pick it up? Dude, obviously I've gotta pick it up because in 50 years, selling Youngblood Strikefile number 5 is gonna make me rich! Though obviously, I never would sell it though, because it's so awesome! Badrock's presence on the cover is not random, as it turns out the first story in this issue is about the only character in Youngblood who actually had a decent premise. We open in Washington, D.C., looking Not at all like Washington, D.C., with futuristic buildings and all. Inside one of these buildings is Badrock, who's hanging upside down in his underwear being scanned. Not the worst way to wake up after a party. Molecular density presently correlating to nearly 200%. DNA triangulation link shifting.
Using multimodal reflection sorting.
The person doing the scanning is Badrock's father, and our hero is kind of annoyed that this is taking so long. Fascinating. Your strength has increased 648% from that of a normal 16-year-old, and should increase to approximately 885% by full maturity. Well, you know how it is. Puberty just hits people differently.
Oh my god! I think my nose just fell off!
Thomas, your nose has been missing for quite some time now. Don't you remember, Thomas? I got your nose. He tells Badrock that the effects of his transformation may be irreversible, but the teen doesn't see why that's a problem. As such, his dad just sighs and lets him go free. He wants to go talk to his friends and show off what's happened to him, but his father says he's not allowed to leave the compound.
What? Why not?
Well, for starters, no pants fit you anymore. Son, learn to think things through a little better. Don't you realize the potential danger you pose to normal human beings in your present state? You're a bad influence on them. Soon everybody's gonna want to have rock skin and no nose. If you fell on someone, or even bumped into them, it's extremely likely you'd crush every bone in their body. What I'm saying, son, is that you're a clumsy freak who will only hurt everybody around you. Anyway, happy Father's Day. Where's my present? What makes Badrock a more unique character and distinct from Ben Grimm over at Marvel is that, being a 16-year-old boy, there's a lot less angst about his condition. Later on, when he's bemoaning the situation, it's not about how he's not normal or that he could unintentionally hurt people or property by his inexperience with his body, but rather because he's young and bored being cooped up in what amounts to a better furnished prison cell. Also, your Youngblood trivia for the day, Badrock is a fan of gunsmith cats. Also, well, I'm pretty sure that video game system is supposed to be a Sega Genesis, given the shape of the controllers, this might actually be a ColecoVision. I can see why Badrock might be a touch bored. He tries to get the guards outside his door to let him out.
Heck, it's probably even crossed your minds that this is just the sort of negative experience that could seriously affect a young boy's psychological development. You don't know what other mid-90s anime I might get into. Ranma 1/2? Slayers? Inuyasha? I know you're thinking this stuff, and I'm sure you're deeply saddened that a renowned scientist's only son should be subjected to such abject torture. So saddened, in fact, that I bet you can't wait to throw open the doors of this constricting prison and let me run free again, right?
Wrong. We're not falling for that for a fourth time. Finally sick of it, Badrock just punches his way out. Possibly killing these guys given this panel.
Sorry guys, but I gotta go. If I stayed inside that dinky little room for 1 second longer, my brain was gonna turn into cheese dip, and I'm a guacamole guy myself.
Alarm starts sounding, and Badrock doesn't want to hurt any more guards. As such, he realizes that if he could bust through his cell door so easily, he might be able to leap through a window, which he does, not realizing that he is several stories up. Still, much to his shock, he survives the fall.
Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my... Manhole cover? Sewers! I can cover this crater I made with this manhole cover! No one will know the difference!
While Badrock's father is informed of his escape, Badrock tries to navigate the sewers.
I don't know if I like the way this is going. I mean, I'm in a sewer. Why is the water green? Has there been ecto-cooler down here this whole time? It seems like I've been this way a half dozen times already. Just my luck. Not only did I lose the guards, I lost myself too. Still, thank God I don't have a nose right now.
However, he soon comes across several dead bodies floating in the water.
I think I'm gonna be sick. God damn it, you can't flush corpses down the toilet. It's unhygienic.
He hears a crunching noise and follows it, discovering some kind of monster killing a guard.
I don't know what that thing is, but I'll be darned if I'm gonna let it kill another one of those guards like that. There are so much better ways of killing guards.
Badrock calls out to the creature, who tosses the guard's body so hard against the wall it splats in half.
Aw, jeez, you didn't have to go and do that. Now this sewer is really dirty.
And so the story ends with the monster leaping at Badrock, and with a better view of it, we can see it's wearing tattered clothes and seems to have some kind of insect-like appendages and mandibles. Man, the original Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles cartoon got weird in its later seasons. Well, that's it for the Badrock side, so let's take a look at our other contribution to this one with a story featuring... Combat! Remember Combat? Wasn't Combat such a great character? He was present in a few issues, warrior culture shtick. Yeah, I honestly forgot he was around, and yet he's still more memorable than Task. Even better, apparently this is Combat's real first appearance, because for whatever reason, it was decided that the guy we saw in earlier issues of Youngblood is actually a clone of this guy. In a book featuring so many generic cookie-cutter characters as it is, this series dared to say we can have him be even more copy and paste than that by making him literally a copy! Anyway, let's actually read this. We open in space, or some kind of asteroid floating near the sun?
As a boy, I was taught that adversity was the builder of strength, challenge the forebearer of courage.
It turns out that I just went to a really crappy school that didn't care about bullying and wanted higher standardized test scores. One did not simply inherit the mind and body of a warrior. But my dad left me one in his will anyway. Those things were earned through struggle and hardship. The greater the challenge, the harder the struggle. The greater the challenge, the greater the reward. And that's why I'm entering this local Smash Brothers tournament. Today I am older, and though I wear the skin of a warrior, my days of hardship have yet to pass. Wish I had gotten a different skin from that loot box. On this asteroid, or whatever the hell it is a technological pyramid that Combat now has to enter. He explains that this is known as Asael, a temple that his people only recently learned about that apparently possesses great power.
Others saw the challenge posed by Asael as too great. The temple itself was a labyrinth of traps, and each chamber was said to be protected by locks of mind-boggling complexity.
God damn it, why does every one of these rooms have a Sudoku puzzle in it? While others of Combat's species thought him a fool to try to enter the temple, he wants the great reward of it and thinks he can handle the traps. Still, the narration seems to be referring to all this in the past tense, especially as he admits that the temple is proving more difficult than he expected. One room even unleashes a flamethrower on him.
Whatever manner of being erected this perverse structure clearly did so without consideration of the Catellan physiology. Like all members of my race, my body is impervious to flame. The heat it produces nothing more than a minor irritant.
Now a light rain, on the other hand, will be vomiting our intestines out of our ears.
I was afforded countless hours of amusement as a child when I discovered that Catellans alone shared that particular distinction. Whether pets or pests, I invariably found myself flinging whatever animals I could lay hands on into the home fires. I found their agony a constant source of delight.
The next generation of heroes, everybody! I would just like to note that the art on this page really sucks. Putting aside that it's really overstuffed with narration captions, the visuals we do get are pretty boring. Blank backgrounds, very minimal setting details, a ton of empty white space behind the captions. For what's supposed to be an exciting trek through a temple full of traps, what these traps look like is just so dull. Liefeld is not credited for the art in this book, just the cover, yet it feels just as lazy as him. We will get some improved art soon, but it's only so much better. For now, though, enjoy Combat falling through some hologram on the floor or something. Except said swirly hologram disappears on the next page, replaced with just a big hole in the ground. The narration simply says that the floor gives way beneath him, implying something else happened than what we see in the finished comic. But yeah, he saves himself from falling to his doom and is soon confronted by a bunch of skeletons. Unfortunately, we do not get some kind of Army of Darkness-esque battle with skeleton warriors, which would indeed have been a major improvement for this book, not gonna lie. But yeah, this is confusing artwork. He climbs back up and sees the skeletons in front of him as if for the first time, despite the fact that he should have been able to see them clear as day before dropping. Except he implies that the skeletons are those killed by the pit. But why would they be out of the pit if that's the case? Whatever, around the neck of one of the skeletons is a stone tablet that seems to be the other half of one that got him started on this adventure.
I examine the stone. It matches the one I was presented with at the outset of my mission. More curious still, it's scrawled in a bastardized Akuran dialect. It says, "Do you like me?" and then 2 checkboxes for yes and no. The pit is apparently the only path forward for him, and conveniently, there are some ledges for him to descend onto. On one of the ledges, he discovers a passageway leading to a massive chamber and some kind of giant column. As I navigated the maze of shafts and ducts extending out from the pit, I began to get the feeling that Asael was larger than its appearance let on.
The resale value of this place is through the roof. He presses onwards, eventually coming to a room with a series of alcoves containing objects floating inside them. His narration about helping hunt down an animal once is interrupted by him getting blasted by someone from behind. It's this lady, who resembles Photon, that fire-headed dude from the team who had even less to do in the original Youngblood book than Combat did. According to the narration, they're both an alien race called Akurans.
Well, you shouldn't be too pleased with yourself, Jungleweed. The orb is mine! I will have it to ponder!
He attacks her when she moves in close enough.
I strike swiftly, without mercy. In my favor, I have the speed of the Catellan Farron, the ferocity of the wild Paramute.
My mind is like a well-oiled eagle.
There is a little editor's note explaining what these animals are, but this presumes that I care, especially since I'd be very surprised if they ever actually showed up in any Youngblood series. Following this, we have a 2-page spread I have to turn on its side. It never feels like a Youngblood book until we've got that.
As a boy, I sometimes wondered if everything I was being taught or told would actually benefit me in life. Did a warrior truly need to learn anything other than combat skills or tracking technique, I thought. Turns out the quadratic equation comes up more often than you'd think in my line of work.
He says that yes, of course they're useful, that you need proper guidance on how to channel a wide variety of skills. Although in this case, it's that class he took on how to leap to avoid energy blasts and then tackle your opponent, which eventually turned into an elective, but still. Despite just tackling her on the last page, he's suddenly halfway across the room evading her energy blasts again.
Space is warped and time is bendable.
Since he's calm and composed while she's just out of control with anger at him and his kind, he's able to impale her on his staff. However, while he was battling her, it seems the orb she was after vanished. He decides to leave.
The greater the challenge, the harder the struggle. This much is true. The greater the reward, well, not everything I learned as a boy was true. Babies being delivered by storks, though, totally for realsies.
However, we soon see that some other creature snatched the Orb of Power, and it does something to make Asael self-destruct soon after Combat departs. And so our comic ends with this toothy fellow holding the orb and Combat's final narration.
If Asael was truly home to an Orb of Power, won't the true challenge be defeating he who now possesses it?
Not really. That guy plans on pawning it first chance he gets to pay for his dental bills. This comic mostly sucks. I will actually grant the book this. The Bad Rock portion isn't that bad. I wouldn't call it anything spectacular, groundbreaking, or super entertaining, but the artwork is overall competent. Bad Rock feels like a more realized, more well-rounded character, especially in his various reactions and facial expressions, and this feels like it's establishing some story stuff for the future. Not only the monster he still has to take out, but conflict with his father, whoever runs the facility he was being kept in, etc. There's room to grow with it, and could have eventually been something good, although because this is a prequel, we mostly know that Bad Rock's future is bad art, appearing on David Letterman, and being attacked by boring villains over and over again. Combat's story is just a lot of blah. The wisdom that he imparts in his narration captions are lame and basic. The fight with the Akuran woman gives us no new information about her species or what the basis of the conflict with Combat's race is, and the art, especially during said fight scene, is pretty bad, resorting to tons of anime-esque motion lines backgrounds and a bunch of over-the-top poses standing in for a back-and-forth entertaining fight scene. The whole thing is just as generic and played out as it possibly could be. I am not given any reason why I should care about Combat, his mission, or even the orb itself. Just a whole lot of nothing in this story. Next time, back to Patreon-sponsored reviews, and another to cross off the list of stuff I'll never do, as I review Marvel vs. DC. Oh, and maybe I'll review a lamp or something first, I don't know.
Sitting on my couch reviewing comics, the worst books that you will ever see. It's sad that comic books
God, look at that head. He looks like a grim and gritty version of Homestar Runner. Hello, my friends. Please take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and click the bell for notifications on new video releases. If you'd like to support future videos, you can check out my Patreon, buy merch from the store envy link in the description, or check out the t-shirts available from Teespring. Thanks for watching.